So I think we are now already online. It's probably already live. Let's wait for a few more seconds before we start with the session so that everybody has a chance to come in on time. There are already many participants in the chat. I suggest giving you a half a minute. To arrange the last cup of coffee, last cup of tea. So I think then we can go ahead. One more participants came in. Okay, hello and good morning, good afternoon, good day to everybody, depending on where you are. Happy to see you here for our new series of online conferences. With the title, Let's Talk About IT. This is the first episode and it's about payment solutions and payment processes itself. For this session, we have two experts from Lufthansa Systems engaged who will present two tools today. Before we start, we just go to the housekeeping rules, which is the next slide. So by default, you're all muted, but of course, we want to keep it as an interactive session. So in case you have any questions, kindly post them at any time in the Q&A box. I may then raise these questions just in between during the presentation or at the end, so we can discuss the questions at the end of the session. And the session will be recorded, so you're able to see the session again on YouTube after the session. So let's go to the topics. As I said, we have two topics which touch two very interesting topics in the area of payment. First is the Payment Hub. Here we have an expert from Lufthansa Systems. It's our Pope for payment solutions. It's Tim Brügmann, and he will discuss a little bit with you and bring you closer the issues of payment and the functionalities within payment, the whole process with the challenges we may face today in an airline. And then we have Jean Adadevi, who will discuss about SmartLedger, which is a tool to check out chargebacks and do reconciliation. He has created this tool by himself, so this is especially interesting. But let's start with Payment Hub. So Tim, I would give the mic to you. Please start.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Christian. So yeah, pleasure to talk about the Payment Hub today. Yeah, as Christian mentioned, it's a product we started 5 years ago within Lufthansa Systems. Its main focus is really about the payment process of mainly direct sales of the airline. So you could say it starts right away on the .com of the airline when the customer enters this data, when certain payment methods are offered, and then the whole processing of the payment. Yeah, so and by processing, I mean really doing the online authentication, so like 3DS checks, or when you talk about alternative payment methods like PayPal, the authentication on PayPal and so on. We're doing additional fraud checks, also considering all the airline data from the itinerary, so making sure that it matches up with what we believe the customer is, and ends basically at the authorization, which you see here in the big blue box, where we finish the payment and then trigger all subsequent processes. So for example, this will trigger the issuance of the ticket, also keeping track of the status of the ticket. Was it really issued or not? Or do we have certain cases where the payment worked, but the ticketing didn't work? So do we have to put it on a queue where the agent has to work on and try to figure out what went wrong in the PSS and so on? So this is the main focus of the Payment Hub, the payment process itself, so online in real time. On the left side, you also see the P engine box, which is our solution for the secure storage of card data. So PCI compliance also plays, of course, an important role here. And on the lower right, you see Cyrix Credit, which is another solution which we have, which is SAP-based and then handles the subsequent processes such as settlement at the end of the day. Yeah, so based on the sales reports, reconciliation, and so on. And what's not here, but we're our colleague will talk about later, Jean. Of course, SmartLedger, a new tool where we also are quite feasible in terms of reconciliation, chargeback handling. Little different approach than Cyrix Credit, but yeah, we'll get all the details later. No? So if we go to the next slide. So why do we think it makes sense to have the payment hub from Lufthansa Systems? So what we saw is with our current customers, we are quite flexible and fast in building such a system and adapting it to the airline's need. And we also saw that there is a need for such a platform. Yeah? So really the, let's say, combination of airline and payment data and not just having out of the box or yeah, let's say a typical PSP payment page that's just not sufficient. We want to combine this data to do lots of decisions. Yeah, so it starts already with which payment methods do I offer in which market. Yeah, so let's say certain local payment methods I just want to offer in certain origins where I know that they are popular, but don't want to offer them in other origins because they might be too costly. Yeah. Just as one example. And we also saw that the approach we took with the Payment Hub allows you really to simplify things. Yeah, so it helps you to get a bit rid of the monolithic world of your current PSSs and really have an easy, adaptable solution for the entire payment process. If we go to the next slide. So where do we use it? Some facts and figures. We roughly have 2.2 billion tokenizations every year since 13, 14 years already now with all of our customers. So tokenizations really in terms of PCI DSS, tokenizing credit card data, roughly 200 interfaces to various PSPs, acquirers, other airlines, and so on. The 14th PCI certification is coming up this year. So last year, October, we finished our 13th. So every year we certify it. And yeah, just to talk about the Lufthansa group. So we roughly expect 18 million payments per year, which we handle here. Of course, there's a bit of uncertainty with COVID recovery and so on, but yeah, just to give you an idea what's being processed there. Yeah, on the following slides, we kind of try to show you the different components of the solution. So the outer circle, the agility is the basis, of course, for the product. So if we go to the next slide, we can see that we really focus on multiple things. So one more slide, then yeah, there we go. So starting on the left, of course, we are a GDS PSS independent solution. One major benefit, of course, for our customers. On the right side, DevSecOps. So we really automated our entire team in a way which, yeah, where we think we really reached all the limits and all the benefits which DevSecOps allows. So a really fast way of deploying multiple releases per day and being able to add new features for our customers as quick as possible. Yeah? So sometimes even within days or on the same day is possible. Yeah? And of course, PCI, as I mentioned, is yeah, one of the foundations which we have to have. So we have a highly secured solution which we offer. Now, if we go into the inner circles, so for the features mentioned here, they have really the airline focus. So we have a customized payment page which we are able to completely adapt to the styling needs of our customers. So from a user experience point of view or UI point of view, the customer wouldn't notice any difference between the booking engine itself. So let's say the shopping process up until the payment page. The payment page is fully adapted to the airline's design, so it looks just that it's just the same solution as the shopping flow before. We have a deep order management system or PSS integration, so we retrieve all the details from the PNR or from the order. So you will still see on our payment page the flight details, the routing, how many passengers are in there, are there any EMDs and so on to be paid, and also after the payment. So as I mentioned, we also trigger the issuance of tickets, of travel documents and so on. Because we think it's really related, and it helps our customers really to keep track of those rare cases where the payment worked, but the issuance of documents somehow didn't work. And have a certain queue for that within our tool to being able to retry it automatically after a couple of minutes. So let's say if it was just a temporary glitch, the PSS will just retry a couple of minutes later to automate here also as much as possible. NDC1 order certification is something which is on our radar. Of course, NDC, the D is distribution, has a different main focus, but payment is part of it. So also something we plan to do this year. And the last point, eligibility rules. I mentioned the example before. We really use the airline data, the itinerary data, for lots of decisions within the payment process. So I already gave the example to how to steer the payment methods depending on the flight origin of a market. And another example would be, let's say, maybe use the hours to departure. So for example, we have certain payment methods where we say, let's take, for example, a book online, pay offline payment method. We wouldn't offer that if the time to departure is only 6 hours, for example. So let's just offer this payment method then if the flight is more than 6 hours or more than 24 hours, whatever you want to configure. So I think the examples get clear. So we really combine the flight data with the payment data to make the right decisions. The next pillar in the circle, the customer focus. Here we have different APIs integrated, so we can integrate, of course, voucher solutions to allow the customer to redeem their vouchers on the payment page, for example. We are working on a wallet solution for the airlines, which allows to load up your wallet, store details of your preferred credit cards or other payment methods and so on. So that whenever you are logged in on the airline.com website, this is already offered on the payment page. So you don't have to re-enter all your payment details. And last but not least, the pay by link solution is also a nice solution for especially agents, call center agents. It allows them to, let's say, generate a link to our payment page just with the PNR and last name of the customer, and then send out this link to the customer. So either via SMS or via text message or via email, and the customer can then finish on his own the payment process. So with this link, he will or she will be directly sent to the payment page according to all the rules which I mentioned before. So with the specific payment methods which are offered for his flight and so on, and also will be redirected to the confirmation page of the airline.com afterwards, where additional ancillaries and so on can be offered. So So I think that's a really good solution to help out the airlines in multiple ways. Yeah, so not only shorten the time they spend with the customers on the phone, but it also offers the customer to get it done more quickly. Yes, for example, let's assume he has an account on the airline.com page already. So he or she can just log in and finish the payment right away with one click. And also in terms of PCI, it helps a lot because the agents don't have to get the credit card numbers of the customers anymore via phone. Yeah, third part of the inner circle, really the payment focus. So these are the core payment topics you also know from other PSPs. So fraud check, for example, which we do in most cases pre-authorization. But here again, we use the airline data. Yeah, so the itinerary data is used as well to decide, does this match up? Yeah, so let's say, for example, is the IP address of the customer not matching to the flight origin nor destination, and is it also not matching to the country where the credit card was issued, and so on. So there's a huge complex setup of rules, which then kind of decide whether it looks like fraud or whether it seems to be the real customer. And then, of course, we have multiple payment options, credit cards, alternative payment options, PCI tokenization already talked about. We also integrated a currency conversion trading option, which allows the customer to select different currency. So let's say to pay in his home currency where he's familiar with it.
Yeah, ciao.
All right. If we go to the next slide. These are now all our core modules, and trying to jump through them just quickly. If we go to the next one. This is, for example, our payment page. You can't really tell the difference here between the original shopping page. So when the customer enters his card details, you basically see no difference. Completely adapted to the web shop, as I mentioned before. Go to the next slide. This is our backend UI, so where the airline employees can monitor and track all the payments, create reports, configure the eligibility rules, and so on. Let's quickly go to the next one. Yeah, it's already the summary. So I hope it got clear throughout my talk. We are really airline focused. Yeah, so we know all the airline specific files, formats for batch handling and so on. We are familiar with the NDC formats. We use all the airline data, right, for the decisions within the payment process. Payment page, highly customizable, which we think is really a benefit which maybe the regular PSPs do not offer. Third point, PSS provider independent. Yeah, so we are not a GDS or PSS. We are independent. And I'm going to skip a bit all the other points. I think I covered most of them throughout my slides before. And let's hand over to Jean.
Just thank you very much, Tim, for hand over to me. My name is Jean. I am the product owner of SmartLedger. I'm sitting here in Hamburg. And today I will drive you a little bit to our new application, SmartLedger Payment Reconciliation. So if we talk about payment reconciliation, it's not just the credit card transactions. This means any type of payment, form of payment. Maybe Christian, I can move to or Lisa to the next slide. So I'm going, before we start, showing a small use case, a situation, and then after that I will explain. So have fun.
These are the Myers. Bob and Lynn Meyer dream of getting away from it all for some real relaxation. Bob doesn't hesitate for long and easily books a flight online. Bob likes to keep things easy, and that's why he always uses his credit card for online purchases. Fully packed with their surfboards and luggage, they arrive at the check-in desk. Extra luggage, as like the surfboards, have to be checked in additionally. Lynn pays the fee with her credit card, and they're off. They've had a perfect experience. The time goes by fast, as always. Bob and Lynn fly back to their everyday life. Once home, Lynn gets her credit card bill in the mail, but Lynn doesn't recognize one of the items listed, so she calls her bank. The bank's customer service advisor assures Lynn that he will take care of the matter and check the charge in question. He will contact the airline and give them a deadline to prove the charge. The employee of the controlling department loses track of the countless requests for payment reconciliation, and the charges are reserved. The pain points. How to get credit card payment reconciliation and control. There were 257.17 billion in credit card transactions in 2016. There were 22.8 billion in fraud cases filed in 2016. Of every million transactions posted, there are 100,000 mismatched transactions on average every year. 1,000 of these transactions cannot be properly documented by the controlling department before the bank deadlines. Fortunately, there is a solution for these problems. SmartLedger. SmartLedger is based on an artificial intelligence strategy. This includes intelligent error identification, programmed solution strategies, and a clear summary of all processes. SmartLedger offers the following benefits. Prevents up to 100% of lost revenue due to chargebacks, payment errors, and overpaid acquirer fees, improves productivity and efficiency, full control of bank agreements, reconciles payments end-to-end, easy to use by airlines and payment providers. Airlines that already use SmartLedger are efficiently minimizing their losses. The program makes it easy to handle masses of data based on a clear interface that's easy to use by dragging and dropping. And a concrete summary at a glance. SmartLedger. Save time, save money, get payment control.
So this is we have the situation. Christian, please move to the next slide, or Lisa. Yes, what you have seen in the small video is like the ticket was booked by the man, and at the airport, his wife paid for the excess luggage. So now we are having a situation that we have already mismatches with two different things. And at the end, they receive an invoice and they cannot recognize. And then she called her bank, and after that, they will of course claim this by the airline. They use all channels to claim this. If you don't have all those data consolidated in one system, you will lose. Because you have deadline, you have to respect for the chargeback or to decline the chargeback. Therefore, SmartLedger is there to help you with just one click. So what SmartLedger is doing? SmartLedger is a web-based application supporting airlines just to put all data source, regardless of it's a BSP or ARC, in one system to enable airlines to have a clear overview of any kind of payment. We don't restrict us only on a credit card payment. Even we control invoice, we control also cash payment, a voucher, or exchanges, and all this in SmartLedger. So why we are doing this? We want to prevent airlines to increase their cash flow, also to quickly deny or decline unreasonable chargebacks. Also, refunds can be easily handled. Also, acquire fees, which is a lot of fees that airlines are paying. Like we have acquire service fees, we have card scheme fees, we have interchange fees, plus, and all this is a loss of revenue. You can imagine if you have a refund or chargeback, it's not only the ticket value cause a problem. On the behind, there's a lot of things happening to your money. So if a ticket is 100 at the end, it's not the refund 100, it's only 104 because you pay a lot of fees while processing the refund, also the tickets sales. The SmartLedger is an automated application where the airline, by using this application, the airline can really save time or save also resources and avoid a lot of manual checks in financial area. Yeah, you will have, of course, a cost transparency on your card scheme fees, interchange fees, and also acquire service fees and bank statements. So if we say, again, if we talk about reconciliation, it's not to compare the payments, American Express or MasterCard with the sales. No, it's we control also if the value is the net remittance is on your bank account. Sometimes the ticket was 100 on your bank account, you have only 80 euro on your account. So where is the left, the residual of the money, the 20 euro? So SmartLedger can point out what happened to this 20 euro. The next point also I want to emphasize here is also onboard sales. Onboard sales is always separated of the ticket sales. So SmartLedger is able then to combine the onboard sales with the original ticket PNR to exactly show the total revenue of this passenger. This means with one click, you can see what happened to this passenger, what has been purchased by this passenger, and what and where. And this is a kind of monitoring your cash flow and also to be able to really have a specific sports marketing with this incentive to this special customer. Can you move to next slide, please? So we talk about this. So you see also a lot of mismatches. Mismatch is if you have a kind of payment, you have a different, you have a sales difference form of payment. A passenger can pay with a cash combination with a credit card or two different credit cards supported by two different acquirers where you pay 2-time fees to one single ticket. All this is a loss of money. And this give you, we want to give you a position to better negotiate with acquirers to reduce based on volume or on a situation, the fee you pay to acquirers. And also chargeback are made without a clarification because there is a lack of information, because the chargeback department, they don't know if this passenger was on board or not on board and what happened. And we give you a clear view on this. Sometimes passenger, they check in, but they stay in the lounge and they are not sure. They lost the flight, but they will claim the money back saying that I didn't own the flight. So how you can control this, we give you the possibility to control this to avoid. Even ticket is void. It's not just void means, okay, passenger, it's the same time. If the payments pass through and you pay a fee for this, even it's a void. You don't get money from the passenger, but you pay a fee to the bank or to acquirers. All this, we can help you to claim this back. Also, bank statement is not at a free of charge. You pay a lot of bank fees, and we want to make you clear how you can really control your cash flow to increase your revenue. Can you go to the next slide, please? So how we do this? What you see here, you see on a left-hand side, you have a passenger, you have a corporate, you have an agency, and a passenger can go to your airline or a homepage, book something, or companies, they have a corporate agreement, or travel agencies, they can also purchase tickets via different distribution channels. You have, and we have also, we are in line with NDC, e-commerce, and the GDS. NDC one order and airline specific PSS, passenger service system. And then all those data can easily via a modern way like API, XML or HPP via secure access to SmartLedger. On the right-hand side, that the traditional way, you have the BSP, you have ARC, and you have Acquire, and then you have AFOP. It's a alternative form of payment. And all those data we can collect to SmartLedger. What we did, all Cyrex customers, we create an interface to Cyrex system, revenue accounting system already, where we get those information with one single interface to the system. The same thing we'll do also with the PaymentHub in the future. Tim mentioned this already, and this is also in discussion to get one single interface to PaymentHub to get those information to be able to perform quickly the reconciliation. So the other one you are seeing IFG, IATA Financial Gateway. We are in cooperation with IATA Financial Gateway, where we will introduce SmartLedger in IATA platform, and the airline just selects the product, and then we receive the information, and then to implement the system for that specific customers. And we'll have also one single interface to this platform where we receive all those interfaces to avoid the development for several interfaces. You see on the bottom here, ERP financial system. This is the airline ERP system. And you see here there's a claims dispute, you see revenue accounting, you see DCS and the bank. And DCS is where we receive the flown information to really indicate that the passenger was on board, so he cannot claim this money back. And also for revenue accounting, we transfer all properly matched transactions with to the financial system to be able to close properly the payment. Yeah, so we collect all 100% matched transaction to the financial system to close this application. And the bank also, we receive the bank statement, which we compare and analyzes, and also indicates that fit with the tickets and the payment. So to the next slide, please, Christian. Yes, what you are seeing here is the just the overview of the system itself. This is, as you can see here, just a graph of how the system is to look like. As I said, it's a web-based application. You don't need any installments. You don't need to install any software to be able to use a SmartLedger. You will receive a kind of a secure access via your browser. We rely on Google Chrome, where you will receive the access and then or your specific access, and then to jump to the system. We don't care if you use your iPad or tablet or your desk computer to jump to the system. We are a really future-oriented application. We are very wide open for this. And you see here on the right-hand side on the top, this is you can monitor your sales every day, per day, the total volume transaction and the value to it per. Also, you can monitor also the ancillaries to this. Is airport services, is seat reservations, or is onboard purchase, or is excess baggage or whatever. And then down that on the left-hand side, you see here refunds. Compared to a day before, yeah, you see the sequence is higher than yesterday and so on. You will see also chargeback, the same thing, the movements, the evolution of the data, you will see it also for the cancellation. And this leads you also to, for the commercial department, especially to make incentive to see, oh, why it is, and so on. And cancellation is also a situation we will talk about later. If you have a question, we can always discuss. On the main transaction here on the left-hand side, you see also here we have incomplete transaction, mismatched transaction, and matched transaction, where you will see exactly how many document has been matched, how many is red, how many is yellow. Yellow is just a mismatch. You have a payment, you have the sales, but the amount is low. yeah, it's not fitting with each other. The system will indicate to you where the error is automatically, so the user can, of course, focus on a specific that specific error. The next one, there is any. Yeah, this one, what you see here, I give you some, that's a business case, just one quick example. For example, we have 8 million transactions per year, one area, one airline where we make a really use case, a real life. They have a 2.6 claims for a chargeback, which means 208,000 claims per year. And today, manual process means that only 15% of this can be checked. And of those checked, 55% are rejected. So they check only 15%. Of those 15%, 55 are rejected. So if an average of 100, let's say 100, average of 100 per ticket, yeah, is taken per coupon or per transaction, yeah, let's say this is the ticket cost 100. So then we are in a total of chargeback at 20,800,000 already per year. It's a huge number, yeah. So if you see, you check only 15%, yeah, or this 15%, you reject 55%. Already, if you are at 100, you have 9,800,000 already. So you see, it's a loss of revenue, a huge volume of loss of revenue. So SmartLedger already had the data to show this potential and enable rejection of chargebacks claims within the allocated timeline. If you use a SmartLedger, you will have the ability to, we will connect the SmartLedger automatically to acquirers. Acquirer, they will, if the passenger claims something by his credit card company doesn't need to write email to an airline or send PDF or download something. The system can ask automatically via request and response to SmartLedger, can you give me additional information to this passenger? He was on board, what has been purchased, when, and SmartLedger deliver these parameters, and then the information we provided to the passenger online or the chargeback can be, you know, can be denied, declined before this reach to the airline. So we gain time, we gain money, and our revenue is increasing just based on this. So we are now in a huge discussion with American Express because they are very interested. It's because American Express, they acquire where you have to download, they have a portal, you have to download all those chargebacks and work on this manually. So they want also to automate this interface with us, which is very important for them also because they save also time. Please to the next slide. Yes, this is also the same examples we have for the chargebacks and reasonable acquire fees and also refund cancellation. We did the same thing. As you see here, there is a lot of revenue which SmartLedger can cover to the airlines. And yeah, this I think it's a very remarkable numbers, and it's not just a number we put there. This is we receive a real data of the airline because airline would like to know it, and they were surprised seeing this. Yeah, they were surprised seeing this. So next slide, please, Christian, if there is any. Yes, thank you very much, and we are here for your questions.
Okay, thank you to Jean, thank you to Tim. Thanks a lot for this very impressive introduction to the payment tools and the payment process in general. We do have a couple of questions here. So we have about 80 minutes left. So I quickly come to the first question. I think it's about a question for Tim about the eligibility rules which you mentioned. How about this? What is behind this one? And you were talking about linking airline data with payment information. How does it work?
Yeah, so there are multiple examples. I think I mentioned one obvious one is that you use the flight origin to determine in which country the flight is leaving, and then offer specific payment methods, local payment methods, which are popular in this market. Yeah, so for example, in South America, yeah, you want to offer installment options, maybe a book online, pay offline option, which is quite popular there. While in China, of course, you have to have WeChat Pay or Alipay and so on. Yeah. A different example I think I also mentioned is using the time to departure. Yeah, so the hours to departure. If you talk about SEPA payment, which is popular in Europe, especially in Germany, where you might have yeah, some kind of time in between the bank really confirmed the debit, a couple of days actually. You want to make sure that the flight itself is not leaving in that time span, so that you have enough days to double check that the payment really was successful. This is of course another example. Some other ones I haven't mentioned yet is if you talk about the fraud check or 3DS eligibility. So you could also use here the flight data, also your customer data. Yeah, is it a well-known customer to kind of decide on how to use the results of the fraud check, whether to trust or not to trust the customer.
Okay. Thank you. Here's one more question regarding call center. One of our participants says we do have a couple of call centers which we operate. We have the challenge that the telephone installations are all in the PCI scope, which is a lot of hassle to us. Is the pay by link, which you have mentioned, a tool that helps us to get it out of PCI scope?
Yes. Yeah, so you could imagine that the call center agent prepares the PNR or the, let's say, additional baggage or whatever the customer wants on his existing PNR, and then uses our tool to send out the link to the payment page directly to the customer, which means that the agent doesn't get in touch with the credit card details of the customer because they are entering it on their own device, yeah, on their own smartphone or desktop PC or whatever. Yeah? So that helps getting the call center agents out of scope, out of the PCI scope, and also your telephone system, your voice over IP system, and so on, which is usually quite hard to get PCI compliant. There are some solutions, but it's always a bit of a lot of work. Of course, to be honest, you also have to keep in mind, so what do we do with those customers who are still not in the digital world, or which are, let's say, in a remote location where they don't have internet access right now to finish their payment on their own device, yeah. Or let's say, especially high-value customers, which you don't want to, send off the phone, but finish the process on the phone. So yeah, maybe for those cases you remain or keep a solution, and just for, let's say, a handful of employees within your call center. Of course, this then stays in the PCI scope, so you have to go through the efforts and recurring certifications to get them PCI compliant, but still it helps you to reduce it a bit, yeah. So, or reduce it a lot, because let's say 80 or 90% of the calls you could then send into this pay by link solution.
Okay, thank you for this explanation, Tim. And I think the next question goes to Jean. It's regarding chargeback. Once the corona pandemic started, we experienced that lots of passengers returned their tickets and wanted to have a refund. And I guess it's went down a little bit right now since corona is almost over. But how important remains chargeback, Jean?
Yes, this is really is a very good question. This is some airline, they are still have a lot of backlogs in regard of to that, to the chargeback. We have the situation where the passenger cannot be blamed for that. The situation is driven by the by the governments, where the airlines are forced either to convince the passenger to either to take a voucher, not to cancel the flight. So in this situation, what some airlines are doing, our situation, we have the possibility on a SmartLedger to assign those involuntary chargebacks or refunds. Yeah, because this is involuntary. So the airline can issue a voucher that we can always monitor if this voucher is used or not used. It can be also tracked in the system, but those refunds are purely identified as a involuntary refund, which can be totally let's say refunded as a 100%. We will see it also in the system in SmartLedger, or even as a also the chargeback to this, not the chargeback, the payment received received information received from acquirer, and also the on the airline side, then you will see in the revenue accounting how the movement of both parts are. This means you will see that the ticket is refunded 100%, or it goes to be kept in the system in a replacement to a voucher that the passenger can of course use at a later stage.
Okay, thank you, Jean. There's another question regarding reconciliation. So if a flight has been cancelled, how do you do it with the reconciliation? How does it work?
So if there is if the flight is cancelled, so it's the same thing. The flight is cancelled by the airline, or the passenger canceled the flight. The flight is cancelled due to circumstances like weather situation or storm and so on. Again, the passenger cannot do nothing for this. So the airline is requested to propose a solution to the passenger. There we get the information. We can only deal with the information, the final information the airline gives to us. Anything in regard before happening in a reservation system, or denying or accept, create a voucher, it's happening the GDLs or PSS of the airline. And then afterwards, we receive the final decision. And this can be that this cancellation information is marked there as a cancellation. There will be any kind of, let's say, payment information assigned to this. Yeah, we will show the total cancellations there in the system, but we will not have the payment to this, depending if it's yeah, the flights, let's say the flight is canceled, and we don't have the ability to assign anything to this flight, because we have the information in our system, like the ticket has been sold and paid. Yeah, either this should be happen between the acquirer, where we receive the information later, and deal with this, compare with what we have in the system, or the airline issue a separate voucher to the airline to compensate the sales later on, because the passenger will claim the money anyway. Yeah. So okay. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Then there's one question which goes maybe a little bit into the future. How does NDC1 orders, a new process which will be currently implemented by many airlines, does change the payment world for airlines? Maybe that's a question to both of you.
Maybe I start. I think NDC will basically allow the airlines to apply their own payment steering. So those examples I had before, yeah. So which payment method do I offer in which market? not only to their airline.com anymore, but now also to those indirect channels, yeah, using the NDC standard. So yeah, there's much more management steering possibilities for the airlines with NDC. In the details, also NDC offers multiple things in terms of payment, right? Like instant payment or delayed payment and so on. So I think it's an improvement from what we have today, but also my impression is the D and NDC is clearly about distribution. Yeah, so payment of course plays a role, but it's let's say not the main driver for NDC. It's something which is improved, but I think there's also still some time which we have to go down the road here to really see the benefits in the next years.
Mm-hmm.
So on the reconciliation side, we handle today one orders already. We have one of our customer, they don't issue tickets, they issue only orders. And therefore we are fully in line with this, and we know those order numbers, and also we can handle ticketless information. Basically, I think the future will be that. It's also a chance for the airline to change their behavior to face the modern situation, to consolidate things into one. And we all want to have something quickly, and order give us this ability to do so. Therefore, it's a huge chance for the airlines to redesign the whole process in the payment area as well as accounting and reconciliation area.
Okay, thank you, Jean. Thank you, Tim. There is one more general question regarding payment. And the question is, there are many ARMOPs around. So ARMOP stands for other alternative methods of payment. There are many ARMOPs around. Isn't it kind of steady, endless kind of work adding new forms of payment steadily? And the second part is, you see the importance of credit cards declining in future. Do we gonna have credit cards at all in a couple of years?
It's hard to estimate for me or to look into the future. I'm pretty sure there will be credit cards in the next years, yeah, and throughout the century. Yes, I mean, yeah, absolutely right. There are lots of payment methods evolving, especially with the digitalization we've seen in the last years. Yeah, I mentioned some examples from China. Yeah, Alipay, WeChat, they got so big. It's it's almost unbelievable. Also with the local flavors. Yeah, so it absolutely makes sense to have certain special local payment methods. Yeah, so if you think about Ideal, Bank Direct in the Netherlands and Belgium, yeah, they are quite good for the local banks there, or same for DocPay in Poland, yeah, or if you think about all the installment options in Brazil and those South American countries. So I think it makes all sense. Of course, in the end, if you're an airline which is not just a national carrier, but if you're flying international and you have quite substantial volume in those markets, you want to get familiar with the most popular payment methods there, and especially those ones which are growing rapidly, because it gives you an advantage, if you offer them as a payment method.
Okay, great. Thank you. And one last question here. You're both coming from a company, Lufthansa Systems, which provides solutions for airlines. Is the PaymentHub and SmartLedger also eligible for companies outside the airline world? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think let's say in the travel industry, there might be use cases, right? Thinking about travel agencies, other retailers, and so on. But I would say the focus is really on airlines and / those, let's say, the travel industry in general. I think for other industries which don't have to do anything with flying, both travel. I think there are other good solutions on the market, to be honest. Yeah. And of course, we would be interested in discussing it, but we really believe for the payment hub, the core competency is really this mixture of airline and payment data, where we have a big advantage, or we can bring lots of benefits for our customers.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. On reconciliation sites, in fact, we don't care where the data come from. When I talked last time with IFG, they told me that they are focusing now on hotels and trains and non-air transportation area. So for SmartLedger, we don't care if it's you buy something in you pay your hotel bill or you pay your train tickets. For us, transaction is transaction, and you have a scenario that we have to match payment against sales and also other things related to it. So therefore, we are really in the future. It's this I have also my roadmap that's in the near future we will also tackle into that area, which is a non-air transportation area, which is very interesting. Also, there's a billion of a transaction there which need to be reconciled. I'm quite sure the near future will jump to that area as well.
Okay, great. Thank you for your answers, and we're coming to an end. So many thanks to Tim and to Jean for this very interesting explanation and presentation of PaymentHub and SmartLedger, and also special thanks to Lisa in the background who arranged the session, the presentations, the slides, and everything. So thanks a lot for you three, and I hope you got some information. If there are any questions left, kindly visit us on our website, send us an email, we're going to reply immediately. And as said, on YouTube, you can review this session at any time. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon and a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.